Hello! So today we have this Ingersoll XK696 data recorder. So this came with a ZX Spectrum 48K, I think it was, job lot with some games. I thought it'd be nice to give it a clean, change the belt, get it going again. So the load level is one that would go into the Spectrum itself to send the data out, and that can be adjusted. And the monitor level is what you hear out the speaker, so you can you could turn that off, basically turn that down, because you don't want that noise coming through, because it's quite annoying. Those of you of the past will know that. And also the monitor level, I believe, works for the incoming record. So let's start taking it apart. They come off quite easy. And there's just 4 screws at the back. The back just lifts straight off. Inside you can see a lot of dust bunnies about. We'll get those cleaned out. So to start taking it apart, I'm going to remove this RF shield, which is just basically a piece of cardboard with sort of a aluminium backing on it, I guess. It's an earth lead. Screws go all the way through and hold the board in place. One more screw under the RF shield. Gonna need to start desoldering some wires to actually get the board out of the way to get to some of the screws. I'm going to remove some of these ties. And snip the awkward ones. I'm just looking here at the record playback spring. Goes to the switch on the board. Got the soldering irons fired up. Got to remove the speaker cables to help lift the board out. So that helps a bit with access to some of the screws for the switch panel at the front. Just enough room to get a screwdriver in to get that switch volume LED panel out. And you get to the, if you just want to get to the board, that's fine like that. But as I need to change the belts and give it a clean, I'm going to take everything apart. So that's the record playback spring off. It got itself tangled up. So I'm going to replace those 2 belts. One's just drive belt, the other one's just for the counter. So not too bad. So to actually change the belts, you wouldn't have to really remove anything else further from this, because they just come straight off. The counter belt will come off and goes into the front, and that can just be removed from the spindle there. So yeah, just to change the belts, you wouldn't need to do anything further than this. So I'm going to strip this front panel down to give it a clean, etc. Under the felt is the screws for the 2 volume controls. The felt's not great actually, but I'm going thin that thin, so I'm just going to try and clean that up as best as I can. You can't see that much of it, to be honest, when it's back in the unit. And then the metal plate is just solder tagged onto the board, probably for a bit of earth relief. Also keeps it in place, to be honest, on that corner. So just removing the screws from the mechanism, holding that down. And the whole mechanism releases. Just going to remove the power transformer, because like I say, I want to strip this down completely to give it a clean. The counter belt there that comes through to the front. So as I says, the belts could be replaced without going any further than just removing the board without taking the mechanism out. Just removing the final earth lead there. Didn't really need to do that, it just gives a bit more room. So just taking the belts off. Counter belt there just sort of hides under the eject lever. So a bit overzealous there with the contact cleaner. Same with the switch. Some in the record and playback switch on the board as well. Just some in the sockets there. All the capacitors look okay, but I wasn't going to go through the route of changing them, but I don't think it'd be really worth it, to be honest, just for something like this. We're not talking audiophile for this, but this capacitor here had lifted on the track. The pad had slightly lifted, so I scraped back and then got it flowed back onto the pad to hold it in place better. Like I say, I could have changed that, but if it looks like it causes a problem in the future, I'll go through the caps. So I was going to remove the rest of these parts so I can give it a clean. Let's take the speaker out. Plenty more dust bunnies in there. And a couple of parts that hold the door mechanism in. One to spring it back and one to keep the hinge in place. Then the record playback lever where that spring attaches to. And that's all the metal work off. And it can go for a clean in some foam. So back from the clean, let's go start reassembling. So that's all the cassette door and the other bits of metal work and the speaker back together. Just reassembling the front panel where the volume controls and LEDs and power switches. So the belts are back on, just putting the mechanism in, the power transformer back in. That's the record playback spring back on. I'm soldering the wires back on the speaker. Forgetting to attach the switch plate screw at the back, but as you see later I managed to lift the board and just get that back screw in because the others are at the front. Attach the earth lead back onto the mechanism. Attach the front switch plate back on. Because as normal you wonder why you have one screw left, and that's where it was. So touching the RF shield onto the back of the board. So just putting these last 4 screws into the back, and there it is back together with a clean. So I did test this with some test tones, also a left and right channel test tone, and actually the left and right are combined to the speaker and also to the output jack. I expected that just to be a mono, is it the left channel for data? But no, it was yeah, combined as well. So it can be used just to play normal cassettes. So this is going to be tested out on a ZX Spectrum. I'm actually thinking about starting another channel, even though this is still a real fledgling of a channel. I wanted to keep this one to audio and radio, RF, repairs, that kind of thing. I wanted to keep the vintage computing side of things, you know, the game side of things, separate, because not everybody's interested in the same kind of things. So on the other channel I was going to try out, show things such as my Commodore 64s, ZX Spectrums, and then try and get some of the things I'd always wanted or had before, and include repairs on those kind of machines on there, testing out games, that kind of thing, keeping those separate. So when that one's up and running, I'll leave a link in this description to show this data recorder actually being tested out. I mean, there are going to be crossovers between the channels such as this. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Like and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.